Hey guys, so welcome back to The Lost Generation. This is actually our fourth episode, and today we have a guest, like our very first guest, and his name is Viet, by the way.
Hey guys.
So introduce yourself, Viet.
Hey guys, my name's Viet, and so I was one of the earliest audience of this podcast, and ever since the first day one, I was like, okay, I have to participate in at least one episode.
Right.
Awesome.
Okay, that's actually cool. So I think for this episode we're gonna sidetrack a little bit from our previous topics. We're gonna talk a little bit about films and more specifically what constitutes a good rom-com. So I think maybe it just starts with me. I think like a good rom-com generally kind of stray away from like certain cliches that you would often see in rom-coms. For example, I think like the hot young protagonist, like the male protagonist in a way. I think one of the best example and one of the good rom-com to me, I think, was Notting Hill. Hugh Grant. He's handsome, by the way, but I think he is someone who you sincerely feel like he has this kind of awkwardness in him, and you kind of relate to him in a way because he was like a traveling bookstore keeper in a way, so he just like really have a mundane job. You know, like you kind of relate to his relatability in a way. And I think like for the cliches, I would think about what film, To the Boys I Loved Before. I think to all the boys I loved before. I mean, that film, if you like it, it's okay, you know. I don't have anything against it.
You like what you like, right?
Yeah, you like what you like. You have your own criteria. I have mine. It's just like that film to me, like Neo Centennial, I can't really buy him as like this handsome yet so quirky in a way, because it just really felt like it wasn't really his character, but rather like a producer kind of give that character to the character itself. So you don't really buy the fact that he is like that in the film, even though for sure Hugh Grant, handsome, right? But like you feel like he is relatable, you know, because like he just really awkward, but in a sincere way, if you guys get what I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that way as well, or it's just my criteria though?
Well, I think when it comes down to it, a rom-com is just like pretty much one thing. Like there has to be some chemistry between the male lead and the female lead, because you cannot have like two brilliantly like intelligent one intelligent girl, intelligent man, and they kind of mix into each other. Like it doesn't work that way. It has to be something like their weaknesses, their strengths, both supports, adds to each other. So like a perfect fit. Because the thing is, the settings can be varied, because we don't want to know what exactly is going to happen in a love story, because that's obviously would be boring. But the same thing that it has to share between those good rom-coms has to be like the chemistry. You have to see like they are really into it, but not just like just two people acting out in a scene. Because with the movies like The Room, for example, obviously
The Room is not a fucking rom-com.
Well, but like there are tons of movies that are kind of
it's meant to be a rom-com, but it just kind of suck at it. Anyway.
Exactly.
Like, if you guys know the reference, The Room is just like an obscure kind of film, and I think like only Viet and I kind of know it, but it's a cool film to laugh at, basically. But I think I really get what you mean. It's like the chemistry of the character should be also like the focal point of a rom-com.
Like it has to be like number one.
Exactly
in a rom-com.
Yeah, I think that's also like my second thing, is that I have to see the chemistry between like the two leads. I think one of the worst example, but somehow like the film is still kind of regarded as a great love story, would be like The Notebook.
The Notebook.
I don't see any chemistry between Rachel McAdams, and like behind the scene they actually really hated each other, but I didn't know that when I watched the film itself. So I just felt something really odd about the chemistry, even though like the older leads, like the older actor and the older actress, really kind of sell like they have this never-ending love in a way. But the younger self, Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams, I don't see it at all. But I think chemistry is a really like it's a really good point. How about you, Ling? Do you think that as well? Or?
Yeah, I think chemistry is a really important factor in a rom-com. I mean, it's a romantic movie after all. You have to see the chemistry between the characters.
They have a kiss.
Okay,
yeah, they have to do a bunch of
that's
shit
depressing.
together. Yeah, but they have to do a bunch of shit together, like intimately, right? Like,
right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Since we're talking about the Notebook, can we just talk about the Ferris wheel scene?
The Ferris wheel scene. My God, I kind of remember it. Tell me more about it.
Okay, so.
Oh, he's hanging.
Yeah, he's hanging on.
Would you want to explain it? Because I haven't seen it.
Okay, sure. So that Ferris scene was basically like Ryan Gosling hanging
with his one arm.
Yeah, on the Ferris wheel and try to ask Rachel McAdams for a date. I mean, I think like it kind of wanted to play like this kind of meet cute in a way. Like he just really persistent in terms of like pursuing her. But it's just kind of odd. I think like I didn't really notice that until you mentioned it. Because like when I watched the Notebook, I didn't really even feel like the chemistry from the get-go. So that scene to me is just not really memorable.
Yeah,
so what do you think about that scene though?
Well, I mean, I think I would freak out if someone pulled something off like Ryan Gosling.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's just so fantastical in a way, you know.
But like in a movie context, isn't that cute?
Maybe in the 1930s, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that's how they wanted to portray young love. It's like just rash,
reckless,
reckless type of thing. And I think that is also a part of the reason why I actually don't like the Notebook is that you don't have to be rash in order to have a young love. Like you can be rational as well. But like the thing that play out, it's just kind of like cliche in a way. I think so. And again, combining with the chemistry, I don't think Notebook is actually a good rom-com. I think I might be the unpopular opinion here, but I just think so. If you like it, sure, why not?
Just don't try something like Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, that's dangerous, guys. Like, that's really freaking dangerous. It's like 30 meters or something.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it gets pretty tiring too, like, hang yourself on one arm.
Or maybe he's just trying to prove his masculinity, like, hey, look over here.
No, it's exactly like that.
So, since we're talking about bad rom-com, I think I should add one to the list. And mine is 50 First Dates, starring Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. So basically, Drew Barrymore had an accident and she has short-term memory. She can only remember events and things that happen in one day. So basically, Adam Sandler just follows her around and in a way forced her into loving him.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
What do you think though?
So you think it's toxic in a way?
Not exactly toxic, but just kind of nagging in a way.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I see Adam Sandler, I know his movie is gonna be bad.
Right. Okay. I think like pre-90s Adam Sandler is actually good. Like.
Pre-90s?
Yeah.
I think he has some redeemable movies lately, but let's say before 2018 and like before that, all of his movies are just really bad in general.
Yeah.
Like Jack and Jill, they got a
award
for the worst movie.
I think like that's for another time. But yeah, I think like pre-90s Adam Sandler for sure. I think like he made some good film. I think Happy Gilmore. I actually kind of like 50 First Date in a way because of the relationship that Drew Barrymore and also Adam Sandler's characters have. Weirdly, I know, I think like maybe because of the chemistry, they play along with each other quite well. And that's the reason why they collaborated in like several films after 50 First Date as well. I think even the freaking Grinded or something. Yeah, there is also like a rom-com starring them after like 20 years, I guess. It sucks, by the way. Yeah, like you said, it's like after the 90s, it's just like what happened to Adam Sandler, right? I get that. But yeah, I like that film maybe because of the chemistry, and it's also falls with my criteria is that I see the chemistry, I like the film. And the film, it still has the charm of the 90s, and I think I have to go back to how the era defines rom-com a little bit, because I think 80s and 90s, they play around the idea of like the innocence of love in a way.
Okay, it's true.
But like after 2000, or I think like late 2000, it kind of plays around with like the cynical side of love, or maybe the deeper side of the meaning of love, I guess. So that film is just like a nostalgic like time capsule that maybe I still enjoy it. Even though maybe sure it has a lot of cliche. I think like a Rob Schneider like supporting character, it's just really like stereotype, right?
So do you think like it's pretty much like the Western genre of movies, like it's past its golden days and it's dying, or
not necessarily. I think they are changing in a way. I think like the demographic is kind of different at the moment. I think like it leads to like the demographic of the young adults more than like, for example, 51st Date. It's like middle-aged type of love, you know, but it still has this innocence going on. And also Harry Met Sally, it was made during the 80s as well. It was more about like the mature relationship, but now it's more of like young adult thing. And I think like To All the Boys I Loved Before was like based on the novel as well, right? Yeah, I just think that it changed. I don't think it's kind of diminishing
kind of
or anything.
Focus on one theme.
Yeah.
During this era, it may be like high school and university love, and towards the middle-aged audience, I think they're focusing more on like marriage issues or something like that. For example, Marriage Story, not a rom-com movie, but I think that's what they're targeting towards the middle-aged audience.
Again, coming back to the cynical side, I think like after the late 2000s, like rom-com started to kind of have to evolve with the time, I guess, because the 90s was just like purely bubble.
I mean, love always changes, right? You can never.
Wow, yeah, you can say that. That's quite deep, bro. That's really deep. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's why I'm on the show, right?
Okay, sure, man. Permanent member or something. And one film that I think like I like the chemistry of the two leads, but I didn't like the context of the film. Maybe you guys have heard about Time, right?
Ooh, I like that one.
I liked it. Honestly, I liked it.
Are you about to?
Yeah, I mean, I rewatched it. I just felt like there was something wrong with the context, because the context basically revolves around the boyfriend. He has a supernatural ability that he can teleport through time. But in a way, when you see the film, you kind of start to realize that he didn't really give her any chance to kind of have a self-independent thoughts in a way, because he just kept coming back and then erases mistakes in a way. And the film plays it as if like it's cute, and I find it cute, but like the context itself is quite disturbing. I'm not sure if you guys agree with me or not, but yeah.
So you think that there's a bit of like a memories manipulation there, and you just don't like it?
I mean, subtly there was something manipulative about it, even though the character, I think, is relatable. He is also like a really awkward guy, but you kind of feel like that is his natural like personality. Donald Gleason played the boyfriend. Somehow it clicks into like one of my criterias, but somehow it just not really like a favorite film of mine, even though I kind of like it, but not like I think it's a good rom-com.
Thank you for ruining the film for me.
And you have to remember that Rachel McAdams actually starred in another time traveling rom-com as well.
Yeah, what's up with her? And
yeah, she being typecast as like the wife of a time traveler, because like she was in a film called The Time Traveler's Wife.
Maybe it was meta back at the time.
Maybe I thought it was in the same universe or something. Like MCU before MCU. Like what's up with that shit, right? That film is even more apparent in terms of the context, because like there was a scene where Eric Bana, the husband, he time traveled back to like Rachel McAdams when she was like 8.
Right.
In a field in the middle of nowhere. And it just kind of like, yeah, that's not something you would do, man.
Yeah,
like the context is even more apparent.
I can feel like things are going south pretty fast.
It went south really fast. Like I saw that film, I'm like, whoa. I was like 12. I had to think about it. I'm like, that's not cool, man. But yeah, I think that's why like when it comes to About Time, I just don't really feel it as a good rom-com. Maybe because of the context. You liked it for sure. I think it's fine.
You ruined it. Thanks.
But I think as for like when you want to merge between time travel and rom-com, I think the Japanese has outdone Hollywood at this aspect.
Right.
But it wasn't a movie, it was some mangas. So I think it was transferred to anime. I just think that if you're going to do a live action, maybe the vibes will not be able to stay the same. But in terms of like being creative about settings and plots for a typical rom-com movie, I think the Japanese is really outdone Hollywood in this aspect.
Yeah, I think it's actually a good point to bring out the runtime of a motion picture in terms of how it affects the flow of a rom-com and how it can work or not. You know, coming back to About Time and Time Traveler's Wife, for sure. Maybe it clicks into your like criteria of a good rom-com. To me, it's not. And it doesn't mean like I disregard of your likings.
I think I want to talk about dirty jokes in rom-coms. Like, what are your take on it? Like, do you think it's a necessary ingredient for a good rom-com, or it's just like some kind of spice that you can take out?
I think like when it comes to dirty jokes, I think it would be really like effective if it's kind of play around with like the subtlety of it. You know, maybe just like during a small conversation in a way. It doesn't screams out like, hey, I talk dirty jokes or something. You know, Harry Met Sally, I think is one of my first example of like how did they play around with that idea. Some films kind of wants to screams out that maybe that is also like the personality of the main characters in a way. I kind of like Friends with Benefit. I think Mila Kunis is really charismatic in a way. Yeah, she's hot. Justin Timberlake, he plays his role well. Sometimes when I see that film from time to time, I just feel like they are trying to amp up like the dirty jokes in a way. Because I know that the context is supposed to be about like, you know, like casual sex. But the way it's just really on the nose to me. And I think it also can become a cliches for rom-com, you know? What do you guys think?
Was there a point in that movie that makes you think like, okay, this has crossed the line, or you were like pretty much okay with?
I think like it's just about the conversation in general throughout the film between Mila Kunis and Justin Timberlake. They always are very sarcastic, but it's just really like unhumanly like, you know? It's like
Scripted.
Yeah, it's kind of scripted in a way. If I say something sarcastic to you, like maybe you would think about it for a few minutes to kind of insult me back. In a way, it's like how real life works. But they just keep on coming with like all these dirty jokes to a point, and I'm like, this is probably like in the script. You know,
Right.
Justin Timberlake cannot say this shit.
Yeah, in case you didn't know, Marc don't really like Justin Timberlake.
Wait, what? No, I like him. It's just like I didn't like the way that his character kind of works, you know? He's supposed to be a dorky guy, right? But somehow it just kind of contradicts all of the things that the film tries to portray him. Like somehow he's just becoming a suave kind of guy. I'm like, yeah, okay.
I feel like dirty jokes in movies is kind of like sugar in coffee, and I think I have a sweet tooth for this, so I do enjoy it. I think a bit more than the average Joe would like.
Yeah.
So like I think my most memorable rom-com movie was Ugly Truth, and obviously the amount of dirty jokes in it were abundant. But I think the thing about dirty jokes is that it's fun when you. It's not even about the quantity, it's just how you put them together. You can have tons of dirty jokes, but if you can pace it right, like they did in Ugly Truth movie, and it makes the movie more memorable, because nothing works like dirty jokes. It's fun, it's memorable, and in a way it makes you horny.
Okay,
it's
cool,
dirty.
cool. I mean,
So-
okay, sure. I think it also kind of leads to like, again, the chemistry in a way, right?
yeah, right.
You see the chemistry between Justin and then Mila, and also like Gerard Butler and Katherine Heigl in The Ugly Truth. Maybe just to me, I didn't really find that. Maybe that's why like the dirty jokes to me, I just felt like they probably read it in the script. That's it. You like it, it's fine. Because I have a ton of like guilty pleasure of myself as well. One of the films that I think kind of right now, when you really think about it, like it has full fucking cliches in a way, would be 500 Days of Summer. That film, I saw it in like middle school, so again, it's like a time capsule to me. I still like it. It's just like it's full of cliche, but I think it doesn't even check any of my checklists, I think. But somehow I still like it, you know? So you can have a cliche films that you like, but you can still have your own criteria of like a rom-com movie for you to enjoy. And I think that's the point, you know? You don't have to be like a really film snob, you know? I'm not a film snob. I just like, maybe I have my own criteria. Viet has his own criteria. You maybe have yours, I guess. I have to say, I guess.
What
Wait,
what do you mean?
You know, if you have to say that I'm not a film snob, for people to know that you're not a film snob, then you are kind of a film snob.
That is true.
I mean, that can apply to pretty much anything, you know, like, hey, I'm not a bad guy. I'm a nice guy. No, you're not.
I'm not ugly.
I'm not the ugly truth. But yeah, I think, I don't know, man. It's just like I don't feel like myself that much critical as much as like all the people who loves film in a way. I don't necessarily say like I'm so in love with film, but I think like it's good for you to critically think about something, you know, either film, music, or whatever in life.
You've been talking about relatability. I think that's a huge criteria for you in a rom-com. So can you name a few?
I think it's really a natural feeling for me when it comes to relatability. Like when I see just somehow, some way, if I can see myself in the movie, then I'm related to it, then I'm gonna love it. But I can't really tell like what things are relatable to me. It's like the recipe of pho, you know? If you know too much about what makes a good broth, then you might not be able to enjoy it as if you don't know too much about it. So I just leave it to chance, so the natural feeling can be the most natural.
And I think a good rom-com, to me, it also doesn't have to be like so into like realism in a way, you know. It can have like the fantastical side.
Exactly, because like if it's not
a rom-com,
if it's real, it's not romantic.
Yeah, it's a rom-com, you know. It meant to kind of play with your fantasies a little bit.
Exactly.
No, it's kind of true. Coming back to Notting Hill, I said this before, it's that Hugh Grant, relatable, right?
Yeah.
But like the situation that he was in is quite fantastical in a way. Like he met a celebrity and somehow they fell in love. You know, like they play around with that idea of like the fantasy of meeting your celebrity crush. I get that. It's just like maybe sure the recipe for a relatable character, it kind of works in that situation because the surrounding world kind of tells you that Hugh Grant is really like a really mundane guy. Like I said before, works in a traveling book store, you know, like he just have like a small group of friends, so he doesn't really talk much to people, and now he has this situation really kind of relate to a lot of the people, and somehow I feel like it works. But yeah, I think there is also a certain stereotypes of like having relatability, you know. It just maybe sometime, like you said, based on your intuition, you know, just go with the flow, you know. You don't have to guess a lot, because sometimes I think that's just the point, you know, like you love a movie just because you love a movie. Yeah,
I think one of the relatable points of a character is like stalking for love. Of course, stalking to an extent, not intense stalking, like in This Means War.
Wow, yeah. That film sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know like who
to...
actually likes that film.
Yeah, like what happened to two CIA agents stalking on a woman?
Yeah, they use their own national security like weapons and shit to just gonna woo a girl.
Yeah, like that's a big waste of tax money right there.
And again, that's Hollywood. Yeah. You know, they just come up with a bunch of ideas, man. And they just throw it on the wall and see it sticks. That's it. I feel like that film is more of comedy. I don't feel any chemistry in either like the friendship or the love lines as well.
So what do you guys expect to see more in rom-coms?
I just want to see more adventure, you know? Because like love is about adventure. You can be calculated, but if you really want that taste of love, then you have to have a bit of uncertainty, have a bit of risk, a bit of adventure. And I feel like that's totally what's lacking in today's rom-coms. They want to follow a script, like a script that has been used over and over and over. They don't want to risk anymore. And when you take the risk out of love, it feels like it's just a hobby instead of something. Like
I think they are adapting, but it just kind of slowly, you know. Yeah, but that's a good point. I mean, to me, maybe it's a bit general, but basically, I just want it to be something more original in a way. I don't want to be like based on a novel. Just make a movie, you know? Make a movie that somehow has the chemistry, has the necessary lines that somehow you feel relatable, even dirty jokes as well. You know, I have like tons of dirty jokes as well, but maybe just don't make it too on the nose and original. I think that's what it kind of lacks in like generally like movies in Hollywood these days.
I want to say more about the com and the rom-com as well. The script is not original. Okay, the way they deliver the jokes as well, it's just not as creative as it should be.
It's not clever.
It's not clever.
It's really on the nose.
It's all about dialogue, pretty much. It's just so limiting. There's so much more they could do.
Again, I think it's just really on the nose. You know, you kind of guess what they are going to say like immediately after like the joke in a way. So I just don't feel funny. Again, you know, just make something that is just sincere, original. That's it for me. That's really general, you know.
For me, I think I would like to see more diversity in movies in terms of races and skin colors and also sexual orientations as well.
Cool.
I think that's what Netflix is doing, but to me personally, I find it a little bit too on the nose. It's a natural thing. And they don't have to really like force every character to be like an LGBTQ plus community.
I mean, again, that is actually a really like interesting topic to me. It's also kind of hard to discuss, but I get what you mean for sure. Yeah, I think if they just makes it out of like, hey, this is just like a group of friends, you know, maybe, you know, he is a part of the community, that's it. Yeah. But don't maybe use it as something else to kind of make the film more marketable, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's.
I think that's also the point. So yeah.
And do you think it's possible to make a rom-com that is also artsy?
I think you have to have like all the elements in that film, in a rom-com film, in order to make it artsy. I think so. Kind of ruins the point of a rom-com, I think. Rom-com is kind of mainstream.
I think or instead you could just put a director like David Fincher or you know, people with visual reputations.
The guy who made fucking Seven is going to direct a rom-com film.
I'm just saying, like a director that can deliver good visuals, like even Stanley Kubrick.
Why not? Like a lot of comedians, when they turn like into like horror directors, they made a big bang, right?
David
Fincher, I'm not sure. That guy,
Key and Peele though.
Yeah, I mean, but like that guy, he has his own style that's just really like Noir-like. Maybe I would want to watch that. But like, I think why not? You know, maybe, you know, if directors they want to try different like genres, then sure. Yeah. But anyway, I think again, it's okay for you to have your own personal criteria when it comes to a good rom-com. Sure. But you can also maybe sometimes have your own guilty pleasure as well. It's just that it's a movie, you know. Just enjoy it. If you like the film, you like the film. We don't judge. We just say maybe it's not really our forte, it's not our cup of tea, and that's it. Yeah. So I think this is actually the reason why we have a post about like me breaking girls' heart. It's not like I'm breaking actual heart. It's just like
I'm going to cut this part off.
Fuck.
No disclaimer.
I'm gonna kill you.